I've got 3 bikes with me, and I'm going to do a little test. See, I want to do some intervals, but I'm so bad at training and hate training so much that I have to come up with like a gimmick to get me to do it, I guess. I don't know. This has been on my mind for a while. So I've got 3 bikes. They represent 3, I think, distinct eras of cycling that I have been in. So the first bike here is the Klein. It's a super cool green and purple chameleon paint that changes color depending on the light. It's a beautiful bike. This is, I think, a 94 model, so it's mid-90s. It's about 20 pounds, and I'm running 23s on it. 23s, haven't rode 23s in a while. I'm running 23 Continental Grand Prix, not 5000s, just regular old Grand Prix. This bike has 8-speed Dura Ace-ish componentry that I'm not very fond of. I used to love it, but now the grips, the hoods feel horrible to me. The shifting feels horrible to me. It's got Open Pro wheels, which are pretty much the, kind of standard for the time, I think. Nothing fancy, probably not particularly fast. So I'm going to start on this bike. I'm going to do some warm-up laps. The idea is I've got a course over here that's closed. I can ride, no traffic at all. It's about 1.5 miles maybe, or a little over a mile, something like that. And it has a hill, not a great big hill or anything, but it's got a climb in it. It's got a little flat section where wind matters. So it's a pretty good just kind of, and it's good smooth concrete. It's a pretty good just kind of like testing location. Like, I think what I'm going to try to do is just use my Garmin, and I'm going to set it to heart rate. So I'm going to try to ride a consistent heart rate. Now I know that's not really going to work accurately or anything, but the idea is more like this is kind of a vibes test. I mean, I'm not going for science here. I want to see, what my loops end up being. I'm going to do some warm-ups, and then I'll do loops. I'm going to try to just hold FTP heart rate, which for me is like around 154 or 5. I can hold higher, but I want to keep it there because I'm going to do several of these. I want to try to keep it from blowing me up. So I'll do a couple laps. I'll do a cool down lap between each test lap, and I'll switch bikes and do the same thing with the CAD 9 and then the same thing with the Super 6, and we'll just compare times. Now, my theory right now, I think the CAD 9 will be fastest, and the reason why is that it's the lightest, which is only by a couple pounds. It's almost 2 pounds lighter than these other bikes. But the other thing about it is that it's got the narrowest handlebars. It's got what I believe are pretty fast wheels. I'm thinking that the CAD 9 is going to give me the fastest times, but I could be wrong. It could be any 3 of them. Who knows? All right, let's get out there and test. So road conditions out here are pretty sweet. This was going to be, I think, some kind of marina or something on Rend Lake, but it never got built. This is the most beautiful bike I own. I love this thing. So I don't think bigger tires are going to be helpful here. I have this theory, bigger tires, I think they're definitely faster on rough roads and definitely slower on smooth roads. And so while everybody automatically just thinks they need to switch to, big tires like 32s or bigger, I don't know if that's really necessary if you mainly ride smooth roads, especially if you have multiple bikes and you have one kind of set up for smooth and one kind of set up for rough, then maybe you don't need to run big tires. Now, big tires are awesome. I'm not going to pretend that they're not. I rode 23s for a very long time and didn't die. Didn't probably ever really crash because I was riding. Maybe I did, I don't know, but this can have some junk on it where the bigger tires might actually be nice. Some of this grass could get you. Been a while since I've rode 23s, and man, it's weird. It feels really fast. Like, there's no road noise. There's none of that humming of your tire. I've got 100 pounds of pressure in them. They feel really sharp, like super responsive when you change direction, turn your wheel. Okay guys, bike 2, the CAD 9, Cannondale CAD 9 from I think 2007 or 8 or 9, I can't remember. Got ICANN wheels on this thing, 50 millimeter. They're carbon, full carbon with, rim brakes, so not the best idea. Other than that, it's just got a mishmash of different parts I've collected over the years. So let's see what I thought about it after the test. That was kind of wild. So very, very consistent. 2 laps. I don't know about the segment, but on my split time on my Garmin, starting and stopping it myself, they were both exactly 3:13, which I think is crazy, you know, like to almost, well, to the second. Bumpier, rougher. I was surprised. Even with the bigger tires, it's got to be the wheels. I don't think it's the frame, really. I mean, the CAD 9, that Klein frame should probably be about equally stiff. I think it's just those old Open Pro box section wheels are really good at smoothing out bumps. And these guys, these 50 millimeter carbon wheels are not. They're fairly fill everything. So the final bike in the test is the 2020 Cannondale Super 6 Evo. This bike is full carbon, the first full carbon bike in the test. It is the modernest bike in the test since it actually has disc wheels, full carbon wheels. Those are black ink, very nice high-end wheels, probably one of the nicest bike things I own. Ultegra 11 speed, not electric or anything, but just, and the tires are some specialized S-Works Mondo 32s, kind of a endurance tire, but supposed to roll pretty fast. This is a 54, which is funny because I typically ride a 56 or 58, but I find it really comfortable. I got on this thing and did the first lap, and I'm like, there's no way. It feels so slow. Like, you feel it bobbing up and down. It feels like it's kind of bouncing when you ride hard from the 60 pounds. I didn't mention earlier, 60 pounds of air pressure. It doesn't feel fast. Like, I mean, it just, and then as I was riding, I'm like, I can't get this thing up to speed. I don't know how fast I'm going. I just was looking at my heart rate, but I was like, it feels so much slower. And then I got up, checked the lap time, 3:15 for the first lap. Second lap, 3:12. That's the fastest lap of the test so far. And I'll upload the rides to Strava here, and we'll see what the Strava segments actually come out as. But yeah, I'm really stunned. The slowest feeling bike has been the fastest bike. And I'm gonna do a lap at full pace. Like, I was holding back to try to never go over 160, so I'm gonna just let it rip. Okay guys, the results are in. I'm looking over, this is actual segment time, not me clicking my lap button on my Garmin, which is not gonna be very accurate really, but surprisingly pretty close in some ways. Okay, the Klein was the slowest bike, as you probably expect. 3:01 for the first test, 3:03 for the second test. The CAD 9 was the middle bike, not the fastest. 2:58 for the first lap, 2:59 for the second lap. Very consistent. That averages out the 2:58.5. So the Super 6 was the fastest bike, but just barely. 3:01 for the first test, 2:55 for the second test. Big difference there, and averages out to 2:58. So what happened in the first test? I don't know. That's interesting. I felt like I was doing the same effort. Maybe I took it too easy on that. So I averaged out heart rates. The Kleins, on both of those runs, my heart rate averaged out 154. On the CAD 9, it averaged out 149. And on the Super 6, it averaged out 147. That's the weirdest. The slowest bike, actually, I did the most effort. Now, is heart rate an actual effort? I don't know. I mean, it's how hard my body decided to work on those particular runs, but that's not very accurate because it could change as, you know, as maybe I heated up, cooled down, whatever. I was very consistent about the way I did the test, though. I had a start line. I pulled up to the start line. I allowed my heart rate to come down to 100 by just standing there for 30 seconds. I would take 5 deep breaths, and then I would take off. Now, every time I take off, I might be clipping my pedal in. I might not. I don't know. You know, I might be clipping in fast or slow. I think one of the problems with a test like this is that the amount of effort I put into the first, like, say 5-10 seconds of this has a huge impact on the rest of it. It's how quickly you get up to speed can have a massive difference, because, you know, I was trying to be the same. Like, I was trying not, you know, I didn't sprint off the line. I just started off with like a strong effort. And so I tried to hold that effort all the way through. I set a PR on this route on my final test by a massive amount. In fact, like almost actually every test I did almost was in the top 5 of my total. And I mean, I've gone out there and rode hard before. I beat my previous fastest time that I had done on this course by 16 seconds. And like my first run with the, or my second run with the Super 6 Evo beat my old previous fast run by a second. And on that, you know, I wasn't even really trying that hard. Like, I mean, I remember I held back a lot to keep my heart rate from ever rising. I don't know if I was just feeling really good that day, or if like if I was just maybe training has paid off. I don't know. I'm not feeling that much faster, but obviously for, you know, 2 minute and 40 second efforts, I'm feeling pretty strong. Okay, guys, final takeaways on this test. I don't think the times really mean all that much. There's so many little things that could change them. How quick you start, like how much effort I put out. I didn't have a power meter, so I don't know. And even if you do have a power meter, all those tiny little changes. There was very little wind, so that really helps a lot on a test like this being a little more meaningful. But really what matters is the comfort level, the way it felt to ride each bike. The CAD 9 was by far the roughest riding bike of the group. I didn't realize just how much rougher it compared, even to the old Klein, which was a super stiff frame, Thompson seat post with 23 millimeter tires at 100 pounds of pressure. That thing felt comfortable compared to this CAD 9. I think it's not the CAD 9. I'm almost sure it's those wheels. I should change that and test it again, but those wheels are really, really stiff, and you feel everything through those ICAN 50s. I think the carbon wheels, the deeper dish carbon wheels, that's where the bigger tires really, really come through for you. The most comfortable ride by far was the Super 6 with the 32s. Just a lot more, like it just felt like didn't feel like I was on edge. And that might be one reason why the heart rates were so much lower. Like I wasn't working as hard. I didn't feel like I was going that fast, and I felt like I was trying to push a little harder to you know, but at the same time, obviously, I don't think I worked that hard on those tests, and yet I had the fastest times with that bike. And so, yeah, big tires. Like I thought for sure, as smooth as that most of that concrete is, you would notice I would see that the 32s were slower, but the weight didn't hold me back. The tires didn't hold me back. So yeah, bigger tires. Geez, I can't believe all those years riding 32s or 700 by 23s when I could have been riding bigger tires and having better rides. See you guys.